This is activity 2 in lab number 2. So what I like to do is to create an assembly like this, and let's call it top pin, bottom pin, and then how about the cylinder? Now, this is similar to the first one that I did, and in the first one I created the cylinder, for example, and then a pin, and then copied the pin, copied and then pasted it. I'm going to do it differently here. Okay, so let me first go ahead and create the cylinder, and I'm going to do half of the cylinder and then mirror it so that I get the other half. By the way, please keep in mind that there are many different ways of doing these problems. Okay, so let's assume these are in inches. I'm going to go there, uh, get rid of this. Let's start with a product file. So we go to, what is that, file, new product, because I'm doing an assembly. There we are. Immediately save it. So file, save management, save as. I have a folder called activity 2, lab number 2. And I'm going to put it in there. Very good. So insert a new part in there. And why don't I call this thing cylinder? So properties, this is the name, cylinder and cylinder. That's the instance. There is a distinction between part name. Catia does not have part name at all. It has part number, and this thing that's called instance name. Okay, good. Let's make it. To make it, I double click on the cylinder. It puts me in the part design right there. So for example, on this plane, I will sketch how about doing a circle? The outer two circles, 2 inches and 4 inches. I think these are, if I'm not mistaken, these are diameters. Okay, so dimension, this is going to be uh, diameter 4 inch. Okay, and this is going to be diameter 2 inches, and that takes care of our uh, cylinder here. 2 and 4, very good. And then we pad it, but half the height. I'm going to do half the height. I want to use reflect mirroring instead of making the whole thing. So half the height, let's say the height is, I don't know, maybe 10. Let me make it actually 8. No particular reason. Good. Now, on one of these vertical planes, I will sketch. Now, the idea is to sketch this circle there and make a pocket. So the diameter of the circle is 1, and its distance center is 2 inches away from that top line. Okay. Oops. Go ahead. Let's go ahead and do it. So we're going to draw a circle, something like that. The diameter is 1. Diameter is 1. Okay, and the distance from the center to that top line is 2, according to the drawing. Okay, good. Exit. The circle is drawn. Now we're going to make a pocket here. Now that circle, by the way, is drawn because of what happened, because of the way I did it, is actually drawn on this plane, which is I believe it is let me see. No, no, it is the YZ plane. It really doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Okay, good. So let's go ahead and pocket it. There's pocket, that profile in both direction. There we are. Made a hole through it. Okay, and then I can mirror with respect to the bottom plane or that plane XY, and you're going to get the whole thing. Okay, so let's go all the way to the top, all the way to the top, all the way to assembly. Click on the floppy, and we go and check our folder. Our folder is here. Notice that the product has been created and the cylinder has been created. Okay. All right. Now we're going to do the top pin. We're going to do the pin. How about that? So we go insert a new part. Always say no. We don't want another origin. We use the same coordinate system or same origin as the assembly origin. Remember, each part has its own origin, its own coordinate system, and each product, I mean, the product has its own coordinate system and origin. Okay, so it's asking me, do you, for this part, do you want to use the assembly origin and coordinate system? And my answer is yes. There are some disadvantages in doing it this way, but so let's change the properties. We'll make this thing pin and pin. Okay, let's make it. To make the pin, double click on that. All right, so um, so on this plane, we will sketch. I'm going to do a circle of diameter 2, so diameter 1, that's the size of the pin. Diameter 1, yeah. Exit and pad it. Let's make it, I don't know, maybe 2, see how it looks like. That's 2 is not good. So maybe 6. So that pin is going to go into these holes. Actually, to make it see it, so that we can see it better, I'll make it 7. 7. Now, notice that I did draw it on this vertical plane and I padded it. I could have done a mirror extend, 3.5 this way, 3.5 this way, because automatically it would have created for me a plane exactly in the middle, but I didn't. So what I'm going to do instead, I'm going to create my own plane here. So plane, offset from this plane in the other direction, 3.5 inches, 3.5. Now I have a plane at my disposal because I want to use it to make it coincidence with the axis of this cylinder or the plane of the cylinder. So we go all the way to the top, all the way to the top, click on the floppy, and we say OK. And if you look at your folder, you see I now have the pin. After you save it, you can actually use it again. So this is not the same as copying and pasting. You can do that. You can copy this pin and paste it in the product. But I'm not doing that because I told you that in complicated problems that makes uh, uh, substantial overhead, produces substantial overhead. I'm going to say insert instead of a new part. I'm going to say existing component. It's after you save the part, you can insert that component, existing component, and it says, okay, where is that thing? So I go to whatever lab 2, activity 2, that pin, I'm going to say insert it, and it's going to be sitting on top of that. And if you don't believe me, get the move and manipulate, move these things around. There's 2 pins there. One of them was the original that I made, and this one is the one that I inserted later on. Okay? Right. Now notice that if you make any changes to this top pin, the bottom pin is going to see it. For example, let's check it out. Let's go ahead and, I don't know, we go here to this pin, and that, I'm going to make it 9 or 10. 10. You see? They both changed. I don't want that. I undo it. Okay, the original 7 inches is there. Okay, good. Let's go all the way to the top. Let's fix this cylinder. So anchor it. Good, this is anchored. When I move things around, this is going to stay put. So coincidence between this axis and the axis of this whole update, and coincidence between this plane, and that was the reason that I created that plane, and the same plane from the cylinder, update, and there we are. Now we do it to the other one, coincidence between this axis and that axis, update, and coincidence between this plane and the plane, corresponding plane of the cylinder, and update. Okay, let's check our constraints here. So we go to move and manipulate, do a bunch of crazy rotations and translation. And when I update, it should go back to the original configuration. Notice that it did. Let me try another one. And if I say update, it'll go back to the original configuration. And that takes care of the activity number 2.